Hi everybody, this is your instructor Stephen coming at you, and I just had a quick question about the essay that I thought would be really great to talk to everybody about, because the student who emailed me was definitely on the right track about what I was trying to get at in that essay question. I'm not sure if I truly explained that to the class in detail. Essentially, if you look on with your assignment, you know the question is, how did the system of slavery operate to create difference between slaves and their masters? So, we were talking about slavery. Slavery is not, inherently natural. Race is not, inherently natural. That's something that's socially created. So how did it change the slaves, which I think is a lot easier to talk about, how it, it changed how it treated African Americans in an intentional way to create difference. I think that's very obvious. But the second part of the question, or the part of the question that I really want you to get at, is how did they change the masters as well? Okay? So how did it change the actions of certain people that maybe wouldn't have acted a certain way, but had to because the system of racial slavery was in place? And I just think I actually edited the question from the last time I taught this class, and I think it would be helpful to go back to it. So I'm gonna email you an updated version of the question, and this is essentially what it looked like last semester. And I know, let me see if I can get this for you guys to see real easy. I'll email this in the attachment because it's pretty much the same thing. Get this a little bigger for you. And it says, how did the system of slavery operate and create difference between slaves and their masters? That part is the same. But second part, what negative effects did slavery incur on both its victims and their masters? So they're like two questions that say the same thing. So, just try to answer one in your thesis. You don't need to answer both. But, how did it impact negatively the masters as well, not just the slaves? I want you to think about that in detail. And, I think a great place that we can start that was covered, in the second reading in detail is Mrs. Auld. We kind of heard that this was his new master, and Douglas said, she was a great woman at the beginning, right? This is from the text. My new mistress, Mrs. Auld, proved to be as she appeared. When I first met her at the door, she was the kindest heart and the finest feelings. She never had a slave before. She had a good degree preserved from the blighting and dehumanizing effects of slavery. I was utterly astonished by her goodness. So that's Douglas saying Mrs. Auld, before she had a slave, she was this wonderful woman. But what happened? He said there was a terrible change. He said, but alas, this kind heart had but a short time to remain such. The fatal poison of irresponsible power was already in her hands, and that soon commenced its infernal work. That cheerful eye, under the influence of slavery, soon became red with rage. That voice, made of sweet accord, changed to one of harsh and horrid discord. And that angelic face gave place to that of a demon. That's that great line, that of a demon. So, that's how slavery changed her. And why? Because of, that racial order had to be kept in line. If it didn't, that whole economic system would collapse. So you see people like Mrs. Auld, you could talk about Covey, you could talk about, the overseer that shot Dempsey, as well as tons of the slave narratives have great ways to talk about how did it change the master class. So please talk about that in your essay. Send me an email, and keep working hard, and I look forward to your rough drafts coming up this weekend. All right, talk to you later. Bye.